update on top accolade news. The headlines. Trump signs executive order requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration. Hundreds of Canadian workers laid off. Trump secures first maritime security deal with Ukraine and Russia. Vice President J.D. Vance to visit Greenland. In politics, Trump signs executive order requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order aimed at tightening voter eligibility requirement. The order mandates that individuals present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote. It also directs federal agencies like Homeland Security and Social Security Administration to provide states with access to federal databases for verifying voter eligibility. The move is designed to strengthen voter citizenship verification and prevent foreign interference in U.S. elections. Additionally, the order ties federal election funding to state compliance with new integrity measures, including using a national voter registration form that requires proof of citizenship. President Trump emphasized the need for free, fair, and secure elections, proposing reforms like same-day voting and voter ID. Shifting focus to economy, hundreds of Canadian workers laid off. Amid ongoing trade tension, hundreds of Canadian workers, particularly in the steel and aluminium industry, have been laid off due to U.S. tariffs, with more layoffs expected as these measures intensify. The United Steelworkers Union warned that the full impact could affect up to 100,000 workers. In response, the Canadian government has announced financial aid measures, including early access to employment insurance and work-sharing programs. However, many workers and experts saying more needs to be done to support those affected by this growing uncertainty. Moving to international relations, Trump secures first maritime security deal with Ukraine and Russia. The United States reached separate agreement with Ukraine and Russia to pause attack on the Black Sea and energy targets, marking the first formal commitment between the warring sides since President Donald Trump's inauguration. While the details of the maritime security deal remain unclear, the U.S. has committed to pushing for the lifting of sanctions on Russian agriculture and fertilizer exports. Both Ukraine and Russia have expressed skepticism about each other's adherence to the deal, with Ukraine's president accusing Russia of trying to distort the agreement. The U.S. is tasked with enforcing the terms, with potential sanctions on Russia if violated. Meanwhile, Trump remains hopeful that these talks could lead to a broader ceasefire despite ongoing tensions. Still in international relations, Vice President J.D. Vance to visit Greenland. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife Portia are set to visit Greenland this Friday, a trip that follows President Donald Trump's controversial remarks about acquiring the island. The Vances will visit the space base, where they will receive briefings on Arctic security and meet U.S. forces. While Usher Vance originally planned a cultural visit, J.D. Vance's participation emphasizes security concerns over potential foreign threats to Greenland's territories. The visit, however, has been met with criticism from Greenland's officials, with many seeing it as disrespectful. Critics argue that the U.S. approach undermined Greenland's sovereignty, especially given the island's increasing desire for independence from Denmark. You are watching the Global News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. In conflict, hundreds protest against Hamas in Gaza. In Gaza, hundreds of Palestinians gathered for what they called the largest anti-Hamas protest since the conflict with Israel began. Demonstrators demanded that Hamas step down from the power and end the ongoing war, chanting slogans like Hamas out and calling for an end to the violence. This protest comes after tensions flared with the resumption of Israeli airstrike in mid-March, following a 2-month ceasefire. Pro-Hamas factions quickly intervened, violently displacing the crowd. Despite this, many protesters, including those who lost loved ones and homes in the conflict, voiced their frustration with Hamas's leadership. The violence has intensified, with over 50,000 Palestinian casualties and widespread displacement, worsening the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Moving to disaster. Deadly wildfires ravaged South Korea. Devastating wind-driven wildfires are tearing through South Korea's southern region, claiming at least 24 lives and forcing 27,000 people to evacuate. Among the victims was a pilot who died in a helicopter crash while fighting the fires. The fires have destroyed more than 200 structures, including an ancient Buddhist temple, and have burned over 43,000 acres of land. Thousands of firefighters, soldiers, and helicopters are working to contain the blazes, but strong winds have complicated efforts. South Korea's acting president Han Duck-seo warned that the damage is escalating and urged for effort to combat the fire. The situation is being called one of the worst in recent history, and authorities are investigating whether human error contributed to the blazes. In entertainment, Palestinian filmmaker released after brutal attack by settlers in the West Bank. Palestinian filmmaker Hamdan Balal, who won an Oscar for his documentary No Other Land, was released from Israeli detention after being beaten by Israeli settlers in the West Bank. The attack occurred outside his home while he was filming, with his wife hearing his screams as settlers and soldiers assaulted him in front of his children. Balal's film, which highlights the struggles of Palestinians, has sparked rising violence and controversy in the area, with critics saying the situation for Palestinians continues to worsen amid heightened settler and military aggression. Now in sports, FIFA moves to support Afghanistan women's football team. FIFA has taken a major step towards supporting the exiled Afghanistan women's national football team, clearing the way for them to present the country after 4 years in exile. The global governing body pledged to organize training camps and provide staff to help the team, but many players have expressed frustration over the delay, particularly as the team misses out on qualifying for the 2027 Women's World Cup. Advocates continue to push FIFA to further action, urging the organization to officially recognize the team and allocate financial support to ensure Afghan women's access to football. That concludes our global news updates for today. Stay tuned for more global news and developments. Thanks for joining us. I am Ojorumi Okosha. Connect and engage with us on all our social media handles. Do have a wonderful day.